And here we go.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you, Amy. That's probably one of the first times I've been introduced. So thank you. Thank you for everyone for being here tonight. This opportunity to speak about LifeVantage and its impact it's had on my life in the last almost year. It's almost my year anniversary with LifeVantage. I consider a blessing and a gift this company and the people that I've been able to meet and bless with these activation solutions. And to be able to do this during this summertime, where right now I have the opportunity to work with the American Cancer Society. About 2 weeks ago, actually, we kicked off our Portraits of Hope summer kickoff campaign, which culminates with the breast cancer walk, the advocate walk, and the heroes walk and honoree walk in October. So it's a just to be nominated as someone who should radiate health now, post going through this battle, and to be able to have LifeVantage in my life, and feel confident to take this photo. You can see on the left that was just taken about a month ago. It's just such a blessing in my life. My family here on the right, this photo was probably about 4 years ago, but I'm a blended family. I have three of my own, the two girls up top, and then my son in my lap. And then we are a blended family altogether of seven. It just so happens that on the picture you see on the right, the lady who's sitting above me to the left is the stepmom of the children of my stepchildren. So she also had a cancer journey, a breast cancer journey herself. So part of my family, not my children have not only been touched by one breast cancer story, but two cancer survivor stories. So yeah, we've had we've had cancer impact our lives. So I'll start there, kind of, when it comes to me and my story. I didn't think I was at risk for breast cancer at all. I was under 50. I was diagnosed about 2.5 years ago. So I was diagnosed roughly at the age of 46. I went to get my mammogram first at 45, and at 46, I thought I was healthy, full of energy. I had no family history of disease. And I really truly believed that when I walked in to get that mammogram that morning, that I had absolutely nothing to worry about. But in February of 2023, during, like I said, what I expected to only be a routine mammogram, I got a call back and they said, you need to come back for an ultrasound. They said, it's probably nothing. It's probably nothing. You have dense breast tissue. And I had been told I had dense breast tissue for years, and I drink a lot of coffee. So everybody says you have, I've heard that old, I don't know if even know if that's a wives' tale, but that I have dense tissue. So at that time I thought, okay, no problem. They're telling me no problem. I'll go back in for the ultrasound. So I went back in for the ultrasound, and then I got a call back again. And they said, yep, we see something. It's something very small, but we need you to come in for a biopsy. And I said, well, what are we talking about? I've done some self exams. I had been to the doctor for self exams, and I had a breast. It was clear just the year prior, and they said it's very small. But that biopsy did confirm that I had a 2 millimeter invasive breast tumor. A 2 millimeter tumor is actually too small to feel. So I owe my sitting here, I owe my journey to the radiologist who I have actually never met, who saw my cancer first on a mammogram. That they claim was difficult to see. So being able to sit here and tell my story, a big reason why I'm doing so is that I am a story of early detection, and why early detection and why going out and getting your mammograms every single year matters, because the year before there was nothing there. I'm forever grateful, of course, for that extra vigilant radiologist who found that. So moving forward, my journey, we first thought that all I would need was a lumpectomy, and they thought radiation. But being as small as my tumor was, I was told before I went into surgery, you're not going to have to worry about chemo. So I went in thinking, okay, I know my path forward. And if anybody's gone through a cancer journey, you know how fast that can change. And my journey did change after, and thankfully, in good ways and bad ways. I always want to make sure my cup is always half full. But what happened after my cancer, after my surgery, is that my tumor turned out to be a lot more aggressive. You're able to send these things out for testing, and it was found to be a lot more aggressive than they originally thought. So it was a lot more it would have been much more faster growing than they originally thought. So they're able to test these things in amazing ways. And they found out that you're likely going to need about 5 rounds of chemo and then about a month of radiation. And it would be considered, I'm very lucky to be considered a chemo to cure. I got to ring that bell and walk out with a 0 to 3% continued risk for cancer reoccurrence in my life. But um, that even though my risk is small, it's still a risk. And like I said, if anybody's on this, has gone through a cancer journey, every single scan, every time you go carries a weight. It is a stress. I know a lot of women who struggle with, going on antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds because of reoccurrence risk and the stress of having to go through these tests. So I consider not only LifeVantage coming into my life and these products, being life-changing in terms of my health, but they're also life-changing in terms of my mental health, because I can sit here and tell you that I am confident that I'm doing all that I can to stay healthy and keep my cells healthy and prevent a reoccurrence from happening. So that was a lot. See, I have to watch how fast I'm talking here. So moving forward, there we go. So we all know, as LifeVantage reps and friends of LifeVantage reps that are on the call, that we're bombarded by unhealthy all day. And even though I said already that I thought I was walking into that mammogram as a healthy individual, I think about, what I was doing. And even though I was working out and eating healthy, I'm surrounded by, chemicals. I was probably drinking way too much out of plastics all day and eating way too much bad oils that were causing inflammation in my body. I learned that my body doesn't tolerate dairy very well. That causes a lot of inflammation. So it doesn't, even though we think we're doing all we can, it's almost unpreventable how we're just being bombarded by by everything out there that's really hurting our bodies. So I have found, as I said, in the last year, to be blessed with finding LifeVantage as the activation company. I'm blessed to be able to talk about how these solutions have been life-changing for me in the past year. I do believe that this is really about how our health dictates our quality of life. And if we can remove our health issues, removing those barriers is going to change everything that we do on a daily basis. And I've seen this. I get the opportunity now to work at a chiropractor office, and I get to talk to patients every day that are in pain and that have inflammation. And I've seen how Protandim, just as our foundational breakthrough formula, has removed those barriers and removed pain, and just being able to bless people with changing their lives and how they walk through their lives has been an amazing gift in my life for the past year. So as we know, we're the take it to make it company. I love being able to just keep it simple. What is the products? What do? We take it to make it. And every solution that I'm going to talk about, every activation solution that I'm going to talk about tonight, I have taken personally within the past year. So I can speak to these products personally and how they have lent advantages in my life. But I stop there and I say always, that's great. That's my story. But I always tell people when I talk about all these products that I can tell you about what they've done for me. But the great thing is that they're actually proven to do things for you too. And I always say, that both of these things are important, and it's great to have a personal story to tell. But we don't have to guess, because this company is amazing, and they've done years and years of research to come back with 20, and I think it's 28 clinical trials now on Protandim that have been done. And I'll touch base on this, but we don't have to. We don't have to just talk anecdotally, because we can always go back to the clinical trials. And the favorite thing, I go back to every time I talk about these activation solutions with people in my life is I go right to the website and I pull down the page, first off on Protandim, the one pager, because it says right there, this is proven to do something. When was the last time you went to Target or Costco, where people buy their vitamins nowadays. And there was a clinical study that actually said that what you're going to spend is proven to do anything. So, so two things tonight is talking about what these products have done for me personally through my cancer journey, but always remembering that this is proof, and the proof is in the pudding. And we work for an amazing company that's invested so much into these solutions. My computer is moving slow. Okay, so I talked about this already. Everything goes back to oxidative stress, whether it be heart disease, whether it be cancer, whether it be diabetes. It all goes back to oxidative stress. And simply put, I think you can get in the weeds when what is oxidative stress? All it is what's left over when our bodies are working. It's the garbage. So it's the stuff that's in our cells that's bouncing around and it's hurting our DNA, and it's causing all, we say, oh, it's in our DNA. Well, why is it in our DNA? It's in our DNA because we have all this oxidative stress that's bouncing around and it's hurting our cells. So what do we have to combat that? We have antioxidants, and that's what gets out the oxidative stress. And we have the best solution. I start every conversation that I have, when I talk about LifeVantage, it all goes back to the original breakthrough product, which is Protandim. For me, as a cancer survivor, I kind of stop my stories here and what Protandim has done for me. As a cancer survivor, and I know a lot of cancer survivors, just not breast cancer survivors, take medication that that we're very thankful that keeps us alive, but it has side effects. And one of the side effects, a lot of the side effects of anti-breast cancer medications, anti-hormone medications, is that they make your joints hurt. And so I went very quickly from feeling fantastic, waking up with no joint pain in my life, to almost overnight. Like I said, these double-edged sword, because these are drugs that are keeping me alive and keeping cancer at bay. So I don't want to ever sound that I'm not thankful for this, but they cause a lot of joint pain. And before Protandim came into my life, I was at a point where I was just accepting the fact that I'm never going to feel the way I felt before cancer. I hate that, by the way. You're going to continue to hear that I don't, I felt great before cancer, and I am really a person who refuses to feel like it's changed my life, but it's changed in my life in positive ways. And that goes back to how I feel every day. So I don't want to walk around feeling in pain. And before Protandim, my back would hurt so much that I would step out of bed and I would expect a sharp pain going up my lower back, because and I didn't even really at the time know that it was inflammation. I didn't even know. But when I started taking Protandim, I and realized that, oh my goodness, my back pain is gone within a month. And Protandim is one of those, along with core, mind, body, that you can tell very quickly. For me, if it has a short half-life. So if you don't keep taking it, you have to take it to make it. If you don't keep taking it, your body is not going to turn on your NRF2 pathway and continue to make antioxidants. So if I don't take it, my joints feel it really within a couple of days. And I know we've all kind of messed up when I say the reason I wouldn't take it, the only reason I wouldn't is because I messed up my shipment a little. And we've all been there. Sometimes it takes a little longer. So that's the reason why. But yeah, and I always say this is how amazing. Thank you, LifeVantage, for finding a natural product, for figuring out that you could take a little bit of milk thistle, a little bit of bacopa, a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of green tea, and a little bit of ashwagandha. And I say a little bit because I get that question all the time, how much is in this? It's just a little bit. That it's the synergy of these plants that we have seen now in so many clinical trials that end up. I always say, number one, I tout it, I speak about it. I like it. If I haven't said this 3 times a day, I haven't talked enough about Protandim. 40% of your oxidative stress is going to be gone in 30 days. You guys, I worked in pharma. I don't think I said that yet. I'll touch on that. I worked in pharma for 20 years, and I have never seen a clinical trial that reduces oxidative stress in any way to this capacity. And any doctor, we know that doctors have various opinions on wellness products, but every doctor nowadays is sort of kind of getting it that all of these diseases are coming from inflammation. The source is inflammation. So my goodness, if we have a product that's all natural that can reduce your inflammation by 40% in 30 days, and if we take it out to 90 days, that number ends up being 70%. I mean, this is health no-brainer. This is like, I joke about it, but I would say, I don't understand why this isn't at the water clinic. Like, go over to the, we can just melt it in there and we should all be drinking it all day. And that's how I'm very passionate about this because it's so, there isn't anybody that can't benefit from this. And when it comes to cost, this is $60 a month, folks, at best. I mean, I always say we're the State Farm. Life Advantage is a State Farm of wellness companies. We want to package Protandim with something else. Anything else is going to work better. All of our activation solutions are going to work better when you put Protandim on board. So, and we're gonna charge a little less when you put it on board. So, but for $60, if you just want to try Protandim, that's a couple bucks a day. There's nothing else out there. Tell me and challenge your people. I get passionate about this, so I'll go on because of my time here. Okay, so I talked about it. When it comes to research, this isn't just LifeVantage that's researching Protandim. This is every one of these companies where these 28 clinical trials. I'm guessing that everybody on the phone hasn't read all 28 clinical trials on Protandim. I'm just taking a guess there. So you probably don't know this. And you see, there's actually drug companies up here that when they've needed to look at products that reduce oxidative stress, they've come to LifeVantage to study Protandim. The American Heart Association, this was a great one. It's the only supplement, but we know it's a body activator. The only supplement that the American Heart Association has ever recommended for use in patients is Protandim. I dropped the mic right there. Recommended by the Council on Aging. I don't even know if I have to go further, but I will because there's a couple of clinical trials when it comes to cancer and when it comes to talking to your friends and family and especially cancer survivors who don't want to be, who want to do everything they can to prevent reoccurrence. I start with this, like I said, 20 years in pharmaceuticals. I have never read a clinical trial that's backed by a university, third party. This comes from Washington State University, published in 2015, that ends with this: the health effects of NRF2, which may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and the most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. Okay, that's 2 drop the mics, right? How many times are we going to drop the mic on Protandim? If all of your friends and family are not taking this, we're not doing enough to talk about it because there has never been another clinical trial that says anything close to what this clinical trial is saying on Protandim. And then I stop on this one as well. I pulled 3 on cancer. This study was done on skin cancer, and it talks about tumor reoccurrence in skin cancer patients. It says right here, the results suggest that Protandim not only suppresses tumor formation, but modulates pro-inflammatory signaling via gene transcription. Basically, that just says that, that those are fancy words, but this is a product that has the synergistic effect to get enough junk out of our cells to suppress tumor formation. Suppress tumor formation, we're taking medication that's giving me crazy amounts of side effects to suppress the chance of a reoccurrence. And these drugs cost a lot of money normally. Protandim can do this, and chances are that's not being talked about. We're not even going to get into that, but chances are it's not being talked about by an oncologist. Okay, one more on here in terms of breast cancer that is very significant if you are talking to your friends and family about wanting to make sure that they're doing their best to prevent breast cancer from occurring. There is a study on Protandim that was published in April of 2012 that came from the Journal of Pharmacology and Experimental Therapeutics. It ends this way. It says that the results of this study suggest that Protandims may suppress DCIS cells. What are DCIS cells? An acronym for a very long word, I'm assuming, that means pre-malignant human breast cancer cells. Okay, is that the third drop the mic or is that number four? I think that was number four. Somebody's got to count these for me because it's true, right? I mean, what are we talking about here? Precancerous, this is what this is saying that Protandim is going to stop precancerous breast cells from forming tumors. You guys, this I didn't find what's the famous saying? You know, you don't find Protandim, it finds you. Okay, do I wish Protandim would have found me maybe 10 years ago? Okay, yes, but I'll take it now. But you have a chance, and that's why I get passionate about this, is we have a chance to make sure that that every one of every person that we get in front of has a chance to understand that you can prevent cancer, you can prevent, you can suppress. That's what it's saying there. I'm not saying prevent, suggest suppression. I should make sure I say that correctly with Protandim. Um, and we know that I don't want to read the rest of this because we know how that does that is it's your body's ability to make your own antioxidants. I won't get into too much of this, but because time wise here, but I think it's important to know that the Protandim's the starting spot when it comes to cellular therapy. Start with Protandim because when you get your body's inflammation down, everything else will work better. But there's two other synergizers that I think have definite roles. I take all three of these as a cancer survivor. I take an NRF1 that helps to fuel my cells. The ATP helps my cells to work. That gives me the confidence that I know that I'm doing the best I can to fuel the energy of my cells. I also take an NAD. NAD that goes back to that sirtuin, and NAD is hot right now. It's a hot the topic of wellness out there. That's the energy that helps that you feel. They say right on the bottle, don't take it within 6 hours before bed because it's going to rev you up. You might not feel NRF1 activation, but you might feel NAD. So take that earlier in the day. I was talking to a nurse in my clinic earlier who's starting to do more infusions, and she told me she doesn't want to do NAD infusions. We talked about the fact that it only works, you know, you don't have to infuse it because LifeVantage, you can actually make your own, and that's big right there. But she also told me she doesn't want to do NAD infusions because they take 2 hours. So I was like, you're kidding. She's like, it'll just clog up my infusion room. So it's a real hot thing right now. But the data is very interesting on NAD, and the fact that we're one of the, the only, I shouldn't say one of, I've never seen anything else that actually has your body's own ability to make NAD. Okay, checking my time here. Okay, next product that this is I told you guys that like you don't find Protandim finds you. I didn't come to LifeVantage because I thought that Protandim was going to be the most amazing products in the whole world. I came maybe for a little bit more of a vanity reason. When I saw the products that were being offered, I was like, wait a second. You guys have a collagen that's marine based, because I know as a cancer survivor, taking a bovine collagen is a no-no. That you need all 10 types of collagen. There's data out there if you go to PubMed that shows that the collagen type 10 does a really good job wrapping around cells and kind of making them, for lack of a better scientific way to describe it, kind of slippery so they don't form tumors. So I knew I knew I was kind of on a journey, kind of like because for a really good collagen. And I stopped there because I didn't tell you the why. Why was I on this journey? Obviously, the number one obvious reason was I did lose almost all my hair. I froze my head 5 times through chemo. That had a lot to do with making kind of do my best to kind of look as normal as possible to my kids. You guys saw I have 5 kids, and I'm not going to say that wasn't for me because hair, we all know, is very, very emotional. But I also, when you see someone in chemo, it's one of those you don't know until you know. You look sick, but you're actually healing. It's that dichotomous thing. And I was going to do everything I could to sort of just make the journey as normal for me and my kids. So when it came to my hair, I did freeze my head, and that's a journey in itself. You extend your chemo day by about 4 hours because you have to get your head down to freezing, and then you have to get your head back warm again. And you go, well, why are you freezing your head? The science is pretty simple on this one. If you freeze your head, your blood doesn't go to your head. So when you're doing your chemo infusion, the chemo actually isn't getting to your head because your head's frozen. So I kept about 50% of my hair, but as anyone will tell you that's had a chemo journey as well, the hair that grows back is completely different than the hair that you started with. It's like it's like those grays, like that everybody hates that kind of come out, and you get a whole head of them and this texture that's completely different. So I kind of had like a little bit of new hair and a little bit of old hair. So my story in this is that I ended up kind of taking all my hair down to a pixie in October of 2023. I found liquid collagen almost a year ago. I could, you can't see, you wouldn't be able to see it, but if I could show you, I can pull a strand of my hair out and look at it, and you can see about 2 inches in the last year of a difference in the way that my hair looks at the base compared to the rest of my hair. The thickness, you can see the difference in my hair. I walked in to the cancer center in June, and the nurses were like, wait a second, what are you doing? My doctor was floored. I had to bring collagen samples to the doctor. I was like, well, the Protandem's kind of more like, let's talk that. And he was like, what are you doing to your hair? I'm like, let's start at Protandem. But so it was this, I'm very passionate about this because to be able to sit here and have the thickness, my hair is thicker than it was prior to my cancer battle, prior to losing all my hair. So it's better than it was before. Who says that? And I'll go back. There's another thing about the collagen and the take it to make it there's a slide here. We know, a lot of us know, or if you don't know, ask your rep. It's not only the collagen, but it's the red quinoa extract that also reactivates our bodies to start making our own collagens, getting our cells to work better again. For cancer survivors, for breast cancer survivors, I mentioned we take drugs that inhibit our hormones. Not only do you get the 90-year-old joints, but when you lose your estrogen, you just get you get the saggy skin, you get the hair that grows in weird places, my cell turnover, any kind of blemish would take like weeks upon weeks to heal. After cancer, now that like I said, I don't want to complain about these things because they're keeping me alive, but it destroyed my skin. This product changes. We know after as the data says, after 2 months, your collagen increases by 100%, your own collagen. This is a product too. I didn't say that earlier. Like I freak out if I go a couple days without this because you can see it right away. I start to like my skin isn't as I can see kind of a sag. You know where I see it too? I see it in that like I don't want to say it this way because but I can't think of a better way to say it. That old lady leg stuff where you just kind of get that like bubble that like cellulite leg stuff. That collagen makes a huge difference in smoothing that all out again. So I thought that, this stuff, it does it matter? It isn't the big stuff because I think Protandem is the big stuff, but this is the stuff that, keeps me glowing, keeps me confident, it's an investment in me that for $6 a day, that's the cost of liquid collagen. At $6 a day, I mean, Jiminy Crickets, I fight and I lose the battle almost every day to not stop at Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks because I also have latte addictions. But and I think, I'll shell out that $6. This is a far better investment in terms of what's going on and what's going on in my body. So sometimes you got to step back and monitorize these things and realize that, I mean, this is an investment that once again is just a no-brainer, especially for someone who's a cancer survivor. I'm going to go over that. I stop on this for a sec because I talk a lot about, like I said, I work in a chiropractor office. I didn't mention, I treat patients with laser and I work patients on a decompression table. And so a lot of patients that I treat are dealing with autoimmune disorders that are simply things that our systems, our own bodies that are not shutting off our signals. And I talk all the time about the Healthy Glow Stack, not for the benefits of everything I just talked about before with the hair, skin, nails, and everything it's doing, but for the fact that the quote that we see on here this quote comes from the Healthy Glow Stack. It says, these two products, liquid collagen combined with Protandem, help your fibroblasts by stop sending unnecessary signals for immune responses that have become hyperactive and are causing our bodies damage. This combination helps us to recover from that constant stress cycle by supporting a more balanced immune reaction. Now, I'm going to stop here a moment because I mentioned 20 years in pharma. I worked for many years with drugs that for ulcerative colitis, for Crohn's disease, autoimmune drugs, a lot of these injectables that end in MABs. And I won't speak of, these are amazing products. They've done amazing things for people. And I never want to make it sound, because there's always a place for all things. But I will say this, if you go and look into these studies, they're right there on our website. A lot of the genes that are looked at that are being shut down are the same genes that in these big drug studies with these injectables that are actually working to suppress your immune system. They're doing kind of the opposite of what this Healthy Glow system is doing, which is strengthening your immune system. And through strengthening your immune system, you're able to shut down that constant stress cycle. The only other thing pharmaceutically that can do that is actually doing the opposite. It's turning down your immune system so that it's not hyperactive. So think of the differences here, and what the natural way. I mean, this is amazing stuff when you consider what the alternatives, and when you consider the fact that we work for this amazing company, LifeVantage, that has invested in this data, and it's scientific. I challenge all of you guys, go back, and I think there's 2 studies on the Healthy Glow Stack, and one is like a really scientific study. Just go to the end. Just go to the end. I print the whole thing out and I tell people, you don't have to read it all. Just know it's there. Like, if you're going to invest this much, $157 a month into these products, I think that's just for the college. And I think I might have that wrong. Don't quote me on that. But if you're going to invest in that, know that, my gosh, there's 10 pages of data on this. And here's the conclusion. That's actually all you really need to go to. But it's really good to know that it's been studied. I would go back to that. Okay, let me check my time. Because, okay, I'm going to talk quick about this, but I don't want to, I'm going to go quick, but I'm going to be passionate. I've been on MindBody for a year now. My husband's been on MindBody. Oh, I'm sorry, not for a year, since January. My husband has too. My mom has been on MindBody since October. All of us, my mom is lost and maintained. She's 74 years old, 24 pounds. Myself, I'm going to pause here because why this is really significant. As I said, cancer survivors take drugs that have side effects. One of the side effects on the drug and a lot of breast cancer survivors take these hormone blockers, that it says right in there in terms of side effects that average weight gain in 3 years is about 30 pounds. So you guys, I'm fighting a good fight here. And I can tell you that, and it's not all about weight, but I don't want to make it sound like that, but this is important because I started in January. I lost within the first 2 months about 12 pounds. I'm 8 months in, and it's not only about how you're losing, but it's about how you're maintaining. And like I said, I don't get on the scale that often, just really about once a month, but I'm maintaining that 10-pound difference. How does this product work? I'm going to give you the quick, because we all know a little bit about this, but I'm going to tell you how it works from somebody who's been on it for 8 months, and from someone who this week, along with my husband, we messed up. I've done it twice now. I've said this twice, but my shipments aren't perfect. I'm going to get them better. But here's what happens if you stop taking the MindBody GLP-1 system. At about day 3 or 4, your hunger starts to come back. This is just me. This is not in a clinical trial. This is just anecdotal, Susanna, what happened in this house today. But it'll explain what food noise is and how annoying it is, and how I was like, when is the box coming? How fast can I get at it? Because this is how this works, and why it's such an interesting journey, not only for your body, but for your mind. What happens when you take a GLP-1 is it changes your food noise. And when you don't have that, and when your body is used to it, about day 4, you start thinking about food all day. And I can tell you guys, it's annoying. And both my husband and I got home and said, where are the core tabs? I can't stand the fact that all day long, I can't stop thinking about snacking. I'm thinking about what I'm supposed to eat. I'm thinking about when my next meal is. I'm telling you, when you take a GLP-1, it's fascinating how it just shuts down all of that noise in your head. And for the first time, this is how I describe it. For the first time, your brain's kind of on the same page as your goals. Because everybody's got a goal to eat healthy and try not to overeat all day and try not to snack all day. Simple goals. That's it. This mind body system helps you achieve your goals in a very easy way. Like I said, because it's all about how your head is thinking about food. Okay, so I'll move forward because I know I'm competing with Netflix now. We've got a 12-week clinical study that says that this product works not only in a short period of time, but it works over a long period of time. So the data is all there. I'm going to touch on one more thing because this is something that I take too. And I think this is one of the coolest products. And it's a product we don't talk about enough in LifeVantage. And it is called Physique Fat Burn. Physique Fat Burn is something that you can add on to any of the other activators, and it's inexpensive. The mind body system is $179 a month. Let's just be honest, not everyone can afford that system. That system shows about a 9-pound weight loss and I think it's in 12 weeks on average. So that's a big weight loss. That's a different system. Fat burn, it isn't going to be that fast of a loss, but I pause on this for a moment because if you look at all these words I have up here, the most important thing on here that I want to point out is this practical tip. Fat burn causes your body to, as a metabolic enhancer, to burn 181 calories a day. I don't know why it's not 180, it's 181. Don't ask. I get that. It's funny, right? 181. But when you think about those 181 calories, what do those 181 calories actually mean? Well, it means that if you take those 2 pills, you can start your step count that morning at 4,000 steps. 181 calories is 4,000 steps. Now, before I got on the call, it's beautiful here in Northern Illinois. I was like, I'm going to go out and take a nice walk. I walked for about an hour and a half and I burned 3,800. I walked for 3,800 steps in an hour and a half, guys. Think about this. This is like the best cheat you could possibly have. You can take 2 physique fat burns from LifeVantage, burn 181 calories, and start your day like you've just walked 4,000 steps. This is a total no-brainer. This product's like $60 a month, guys. And I don't want to always have it go back to the scale, but my goodness, give me a break. This is too easy. And why do we know? It's because the clinical trial says that this is over 4 months. So it's not as fast as your mind body system. But what it shows is that over 4 months, you're going to lose 4 pounds. You're going to lose 4 pounds just by taking 2 of these a day. That's pretty awesome. That comes down to a pound for your $60 bottle. That's a pound a month. So if you're thinking about the investment, well, I've got a product that actually can ignite your metabolism. Won't get into how that, the specifics of all these things, it's Sinatrol and stuff. But this is the basic stuff when you're talking to your friends and they say, you know what? I'm having a hard time losing weight. Well, you know what? I've got a really cool cheat here. I've got this product that's $60 a month. That's like $2 a day that you lose a pound a month. And in 4 months, the studies show you lost 4 pounds. And guess what? It's at the part of that all of us like find the hardest to lose, which is around our midsection. That's a no-brainer. That's the drop the mic on fat burn. It's a no-brainer. We don't talk about it enough, but the data is there, and you can add it to any of the other activators. I take it. I sometimes I forget to take it, but I can tell you when I remember. I remember on the days when I get too busy, and I know that like my plan, if I had that plan to go to the gym, and I might have like. Because I'm not a morning gym person. I have like an afternoon. I'm a night gym person. So sometimes if I think I'm going to go to the gym, I'm a real person. I'm going to eat a little bit more. I might snack. I get to go to the gym later, and then you realize, wait, I don't have time. My whole week, I don't have time to get to the gym. This is easy. I can make sure I take my fat burn. So, like I said, take it every day, a pound a month, 4 pounds in 4 months. I put this here because these are all the products that we just talked about, and LifeVantage puts them together now in a high-speed health stack where you get NAD for free. I don't know anybody else gets it. Like I said, the state farm of companies that can put all these things together and end up getting an NAD for free. NAD is going to boost your energy right away, going to make you feel better right away. So I end with a lot of what we talk about. And I know if you've been with LifeVantage, this slide is you've seen this before. It's that what else can we activate? I don't know, folks. I think we have a collection of products. We didn't even talk about everything. I'm sitting here I tell you, with drinking peach Axio to make sure that I can, be on tonight at 8 o'clock after a long day. We've got so many things out there that we can activate. So thank you guys. Thank you for listening to me tonight, listening to me talk about my journey and how I feel, like I said, passionate to continue to share. This is a fuzzy QR code, but I'll tell you guys what this is and maybe my ask of you guys for listening and my thank you for you tonight. Like I've said, cancer changes each of us. Each of us are touched most likely by someone we know, a friend or family who's had cancer in their life. Like me, like so many other survivors, cancer revealed not only a journey, but the beauty in life. And a lot of that beauty is because I can spend every day pain-free and doing all I can to prevent a reoccurrence with LifeVantage. So I do feel LifeVantage every day fuels my most meaningful moments that I get to have in my life now. It brought into focus, the power of connection, the power of gratitude, and love. And that's one of the best things about being with this company, is not only do you get to be part of a company with amazing data, but you get to be a part of a company with people who love you and love health and love sharing it with people. Um, I did throughout my journey find strength in others who shared their journey. So part of what I wanted to do tonight is to just to share mine and hopefully you can offer, my a part of my journey and some of these solutions that have really made a difference in my life. I will admit that my favorite saying that I say is really F you to cancer. It's my favorite saying because I think it sums it all up. Cancer sucks. And you get through it and you're a survivor and you're thankful, but I still say F you to it. I want to live my life the same way I was living before that came into my life. And that's what LifeVantage has enabled me to do. So what this QR code is a QR code that will take you guys to my page, my fundraising page. Like I said, I'm currently working with the Americans Cancer Society because they are an amazing group that is fueling so much of the research and the resources that give people like me tomorrows and fuel the medicine that makes sure that I got that cancer the heck out of me. And that I can continue to share the gratitude that I have for LifeVantage now and what it's continuing to do to make sure that I get to be involved in all of the precious moments that every day brings in my life. So thank you if you care to donate. Together, I do think we're awesome as this team, and we can do so much more to make sure that we keep all of our friends and family and everybody that we get to touch in life healthy. So thanks, guys. Thank you for your time
Thank you
tonight.
so much, Susanna. That was amazing. And we just love hearing your stories and the personal touches. Of course, we don't ever claim to cure, treat, or mitigate any disease, but hearing your stories are just so passionate and how this company and these products has touched and changed your life is just amazing. So I want to say thank you to all of our guests. If you're on here tonight, get back with the person that invited you. There's two ways to come into this company. You can come in as a customer, or you can lock arms with all of us and become a consultant. And we're one big LifeVantage family together. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate your
Thank
time.
you to everyone.